Greenland, formerly Mitsui Greenland, was the most southern amusement park we visited in Japan. They have a whopping 10 roller coasters. You can find it in Arao, which is in Kumamoto, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this was the weirdest park we visited in the entire country. This place is the definition of quirky. So buckle up because there's a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the good, we're going to talk about the bad, and of course the weird. So as usual, starting off with how we got there, we took a local line to the closest station and then a bus from there. And the bus ride was not that long. It just dropped us off at the front entrance. And we paid about 5,400 yen for a wristband that got us on all of the rides. However, you can pay per ride if you want to do so. One ticket is 110 yen, which is just over $1 US. Or you can get 30 tickets for 3,000 yen or around $30. But because there are so many roller coasters here and a lot of weird attractions, we knew we wanted the wristband. And so we paid our admission and walked in, and voila, we are the only ones there. This felt like the most dead park on the entire trip. And I know that a lot of the parks that I've talked about in these reviews, I've said, yeah, the park was deserted. But here's the thing. Greenland is probably the biggest park I've ever been to, or one of them. Definitely the biggest park in Japan. It is so huge, and it feels so huge because there's a lack of trees. So you can look out and see how big the park is when you're walking around. You can look clear across from one area all the way to the other side. And I think that's why it felt so huge. And so because there's so much land here and so little people, we would be walking around and we wouldn't see anyone. I am 100% certain there were more employees here than guests. So yeah, absolutely first impressions of this place were, oh my gosh, this place is enormous. So the first thing we did is we actually had all of our suitcases with us when we visited this park. And so we asked, where can we put our bags? And they had lockers right at the front entrance. So we were able to fit everything in there and go. And we were kind of in a rush when we were at this park because they were calling for some bad weather. And so we said, we want to get all 10 of these credits out of the way because we don't want it to pour rain and then park closes early and we aren't able to do anything. We didn't know what was going to happen. But spoiler alert, it did rain a lot. So it was smart of us saying, okay, let's get our butts moving here. So we worked our way clockwise around the park. We started things off with the Ultra Twister. I got 2 rides in on this, and it was my favorite ride in the park. Even though it's a clone, this ride just confirmed what I thought at Nagashima, and that is that Ultra Twisters are awesome rides. And so started things off on a high note. Some of the other attractions they have here is they have a Vekoma SLC named Neo. It is all red, so it kind of looks like T3 at Kentucky Kingdom, except this one is way worse. This thing sucks. I got off Neo and said, I freaking hate these things. So yeah, that was a one and done. Never gonna do that again. Probably the most defining roller coaster here is Gao, which is one of those Meisho jet coasters. It is huge. The lift hill is steeper than the drop. It does absolutely nothing. I have a full review of it on my channel. Go look it up, but long story short, it's a dinosaur themed coaster, and the ride spreads throughout a good portion of the park. So you can see that ride pretty much anywhere. And you know, they have a lot of family coasters here, a lot of really small attractions. They have 2 powered coasters, a really dumb steel coaster named Sphinx. Really does nothing. It's probably the most boring coaster I've ever ridden. It's just a bunch of straight sections. Although the entrance is cool. They have a spinning wild mouse. If you're a fan of the movie Lady Bird, they have a roller coaster here named Lady Bird, except this one came before the movie. Grandpa's Jet is an Arao suspended coaster. Well, it's sort of Arao. It was built by Arao, but it was actually made by Vekoma. It looks and feels identical to an Arao suspended. And you know, it was pretty good. It was not bad at all. I only got 1 ride on it, but I enjoyed it. It was cool. It was fairly tame, but the swinging factor was well done. And I got off saying, yeah, okay, I enjoyed that. Fairly close to it is a pretty unique set of rides. This is a dueling Togo. It is called Milky Way. It has a pink side and a blue side. The pink side is a sit-down coaster and the blue side is a stand-up coaster. And if you've been watching all of the Japan park reviews I've been doing, then you know that Togos in Japan are pretty good. This one was no exception. These rides were pretty solid. I actually preferred the stand-up side to the sit-down side. On the stand-up side, there was one moment of airtime that is so insane, I actually thought I was going to fly out and die. Because here's the thing, with these stand-up restraints, they have a little give to them. So when you go over crazy ejector moment, the whole restraint kind of moves up a bit, and so my entire body went up with it. My feet left the floor. It was nuts. My biggest regret with this ride was not doing it again because I did not get a dueling ride on it, but some other members in our group did. When we went, they made us ride each of them one at a time because, again, there was no one here, so we were the only guests on it. We wanted to put some members on one side and us on the other so that we could duel, but they said, no, don't do that, which is weird because apparently later in the day, they allowed it with some other members of our group. So yeah, that was kind of one of those unique attractions here that I really enjoyed. I didn't even know it existed before walking in here, but it was good fun. So that's about it for the roller coasters. The only other thing I'll mention is that they have removed one roller coaster that used to be here. It was called Atomic. It closed in 2009. It was a shuttle coaster, and they left the loop standing, which is really neat. It's a great tribute to a past attraction, and you can walk right up to it too. So let's move on from the roller coasters to discuss the general atmosphere. What are some things that you'll see going around this place? One of the first things I want to mention is that you will not find any vending machines here, which is very different than most parks in Japan and just anywhere in Japan, really. There's vending machines everywhere, but not in Greenland. Very strange. I do not know why they do that. Also, I gotta give them a shout out. There's a McDonald's in the park. Us being dumb Americans, of course, we were like, let's eat there. But you know, it was kind of cool. They offer some different things on the menu that you wouldn't find in America. They also had a sink in the restaurant where you could wash your hands, like just out in the open area, not in a bathroom. So I like different quirks like that. And you know, as you're walking around, you'll just see weird statues everywhere, just placed randomly. We saw pigs, dragons, dinosaurs, eggplants, and more. It was just a very strange mishmash of random themes. So in a way, this is definitely an amusement park because there is no correlation between any of these attractions. And you know, as I was walking around, one thought that crossed my mind is this place needs some TLC. Some of the midways felt very run down, like they hadn't been renovated in a long time. So in a way, this felt like a true Japanese amusement park. Like this was the epitome of a Japan theme park. But I definitely couldn't help but wonder when the last time the owners of this place gave some areas some upgrades. I don't know, there wasn't really anything here that looked or felt new. So anyways, let's highlight a few specific attractions. Because the park is so big, they have lots of transportation rides here, including 2 sky rides. One is a single-seater and one is a double-seater, and neither of them have seat belts. Yes, you heard that right. There is no safety bar on these sky rides. Open air, they just trust that you won't be stupid and jump out. It was a very strange sensation. Also, just in general, a single seat sky ride? Like, what? I'd never seen anything like that before. But get this, those are not the only transportation rides here. There's also a sky tram like the one that you could find in Nagashima, except this one actually drops you off somewhere else in the park. And I really enjoyed all of the transportation rides here because they give you some really nice views of the place. Again, when you're elevated at all, you can see everything in the park. But it was funny when I got on this transportation ride because when I did the one at Nagashima, it brought us back to the same location. So when I did this one, I assumed that it also was not a transportation ride and just bring me back where I started. But it dropped me off somewhere else in the park and I had no idea where I was. It was really funny. And last but certainly not least, there is one more transportation attraction here, and this one is probably the strangest one yet. They have a train. It just drives throughout the park and it has a kissy face on it. Why? I haven't got the slightest clue. But it was creepy, weird, and hilarious. Probably the biggest meme of Greenland. I don't even know where this thing dropped people off or picked them up. I don't know if you could just hop on and tell the conductor to drop you off wherever you want. We didn't see a station for it or anything. It was just driving around the park, and it was weird. A few other unique attractions, they have an enormous Ferris wheel, and it is super skinny. The thinnest Ferris wheel I have ever seen in my life. I couldn't believe how huge it was. I mean, it's got to be at least 300 feet tall. I don't know exactly, but the view looked incredible. I didn't get the opportunity to do it, but I wish I did. Like a lot of other Japan parks, this place also has an ice house, and this was by far the biggest and coldest one yet. It was a very elaborate walkthrough with some really cool theming, and I believe we saw it was 0 degrees Fahrenheit. That's really cold. And because it was so hot and humid when we were at this park, it felt amazing. Here's another strange attraction. I went through a walkthrough themed to a little hospital, and I didn't know what the point was because before entering, they gave me this stick thing, and they explained what to do with it in Japanese. Of course, I didn't comprehend any of that, but it was funny because he kind of gave a little nod like I understood, and I just kind of nodded, and then I went through with it. And it had a little light in it, so I just kind of waved around to see if it would trigger any animatronics or do something special. Of course, it didn't do anything, and so when I reached the end of it, I was with my friend Chad and we both passed him our sticks, and apparently they had scores on them. Well, Chad had a higher score than I did, so he got a free piece of candy. And then we walked out. We had no idea how either of us won or what we were supposed to do. We were told afterwards that apparently we were supposed to keep it still, but both of us were literally just waving it around, so I imagine that both of us got terrible scores, but his happened to be better than mine. Very weird. And the last attraction I really want to mention here is a haunted walkthrough. And this is located all the way on top of a hill. So when you go up on that double-seater sky ride without a restraint, it takes you up into this whole other section of the park. And the only way you can get there is by this sky ride. However, you can take an alpine slide on the way down if you want. We were told that our wristbands did not include that attraction, so we didn't do it, but it was there as an option. So we get up to this top. It's a gorgeous view. You can see the entire park, and then we go through this walkthrough. And we'd been through some cool walkthroughs at Fuji Q, and so we were expecting this one to be pretty awesome. I mean, it was huge. It was really tall, and we're expecting some scare actors in there. Oh yeah, it's gonna be great. Well, no, there was no one in there, and we just went through a few rooms, and there were a few moments where some things would pop up at us because they are motion detected, but definitely wasn't as good as we were expecting. And would you believe that we managed to do all of those attractions before it started pouring? And when it started raining, it rained hard. This was the biggest washout of the entire trip, and pretty much nothing opened after that. And it was funny, our group was kind of spread throughout the park, and when it started pouring, we just kind of had to wait it out wherever we happened to get stuck. Chad and I got stuck in the very best place in the entire park to get stuck at, and that is the petting zoo. Yes, they have a petting zoo here. It includes animals like flamingos, goats, rabbits, sheep, and puppies. So Chad and I sat in a big pen playing with puppies while it poured down rain, and it was wonderful. But that about wraps up our experience at Greenland. Very strange park. I don't know if I liked it. I mean, it was definitely cool seeing all the little quirks that they had around the place. And they had a lot of attractions. I wouldn't say any of them were super high quality. Like I said, I think my favorite ride there was the Ultra Twister. But would I go back to the place? Frankly, I'm not sure I would. This park might be a kind of one and done sort of place. There isn't really anything there that leaves me saying, oh man, I gotta go back. It's not like Fuji Q or Nagashima where I had standout attractions. I'm like, yes, I need to come back to this place. I thought Greenland had a cool atmosphere, kind of charming in a way, but next time I find myself in Japan, I might just skip this place. I'm glad I visited, but if I had the choice to go back here or visit a new park, I would definitely choose the new park. So that's gonna do it for my review of Greenland all the way in southern Japan. Let me know down in the comments below if you've had the opportunity to visit this place, or if this is somewhere that you want to get to eventually. And if so, I hope this review helped you. But of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Japan park reviews here at Coaster Studios. And I'll see you next time.